What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the preview for Manchester United versus Ipswich Town. Cash your minds back to the 24th of November, Sam. Amarin's first game in charge. Has much changed? I think, yeah, we've definitely got worse, for sure. Oh,
not really. Nothing.
Sorry. Your sound was off.
Oh,
just repeat the start of that if you can. I didn't realize the sound was off. Go
on. I think we've got worse. I would say. And then the first two games we scored early, and you're like, okay, maybe there's something to this. And then since then, it's just been pretty shit on it. Yeah. Really.
Yeah, pretty bad. If there are some things that we can improve on in the Everton game, what's the first couple of things that kind of come into your mind?
Actually playing the first half would be nice.
Yeah.
Just actually play the game, because that just seemed like we didn't show up at all in the first half. That was disappointing. Be better at being pressed, because fucking hell, we just gave up on it, didn't we? Like every time Everton pressed us into like a corner or something,
panic.
just absolutely destroyed us. And then defending, just that chaos of defending that cost us 2 goals was unbelievably embarrassing. So yeah, there's a couple of things. I mean, there's a lot more I could fucking pick out, but there's 2 of them.
Yeah. If you look at Ipswich, and I watched the game closely, I've watched it a few times now, well, at least the highlights against Spurs, they are defensively vulnerable. They are not great at the back. They can start slow, very similar to us as well. So the emphasis I would put on this game, you have to start this game quick. You've got to, especially with the game being at Old Trafford, right? It's been a shit show, hasn't it, for a long time now. The games are very eerie. The atmosphere isn't great at all. You can see it near the goal, and it's just a domino effect after that, or a snowball effect, whatever you want to call it. So we need to start quickly, Sam.
Yeah. What was the last win at Old Trafford? Was it Leicester? Is that the last win?
Probably.
On the route.
I'll double check that, but go on.
Yeah, because the rest of it has been, pretty dire. Southampton, wasn't it? Well, the last couple of minutes, if I'm mad.
Leicester in the FA Cup, I think it was. Yeah, 4th round.
Southampton as well, didn't we? We won at home.
Yeah, Southampton was January, that was.
So yeah, and we were getting battered pretty much, like pillar to post in that game.
Yeah. I mean, even the Leicester game was pretty close, wasn't it, in the FA Cup?
Yeah.
Very close.
Yeah, so without Ahmad, it was kind of like, we would have lost to Southampton, who haven't beat anybody at this point, which is just insane. So, yeah, if you can get a win, it restores a bit of confidence.
Yes.
But I think the more important thing is a fucking performance. Give us a performance, please. Like, just give something for the fans to get excited about. Give us something to hold on to. Like, give us something that we can get behind, because at the minute, anytime I've been to Old Trafford, I've watched it, and I think it's just dire. Like, there's just nothing to enjoy. There's nothing to sort of just go, oh yeah, I like that. It's just fucking dead. Atmosphere is dead. The players look nervous. They look like they've got anxiety. The fans get anxious within about 10-15 minutes when we see it's just fucking sideways balls just across our own box. Like, it's just terrible. And normally when a team like Ipswich comes to town and comes to Old Trafford, you think, okay, here's a team we can beat, build a bit of confidence, and we could go on from there. But I don't trust us to beat teams like this. I really don't.
No. I think at United, if you're kind of from now onwards, or it should have been done years ago, but if you are a fan, as soon as you get into like a respectable age, you should be prescribed with some kind of morphine just to numb the pain of how shit we've been week in, week out. It really, really is bad at Old Trafford in particular. For some reason, in the big games, we can turn up. We've always had that thing. In away games, our form's a little bit better at an absolute stretch.
Big games away seem to be the one, don't it? Like, Anfield, big games away, great. Arsenal, Emirates, Liverpool, great. Seem to be all right.
Great.
Yeah. But just at home,
a team from the bottom of the table comes to Old Trafford and we're like, oh, I don't know what to do. It's because the narrative of the game is the emphasis is on us, right? We've got to break them down. The pressure is on us to keep hold of the ball, and we can't seem to do that in a minute. Now, I said before, Ipswich are vulnerable. They've conceded 54 goals this season. That's a lot of fucking goals. But the point is that we can still get into goal scoring opportunities and be given the chance and then not fucking finish it.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you take a risk in that attack? I know we're going to get into starting 11s later, but do you take a risk with a Cheeto or something, potentially?
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see Cheeto start because, let's be honest, Rasmus is not doing it, is he?
No.
Like, he's just not. So I've always said, what's the worst that could happen if Cheeto comes on? He doesn't score a goal.
Yeah.
It's the same thing if Hoyland plays. Like, he doesn't
I
score.
think the worst case scenario is he comes on, he's struggling a lot, and he gets pulled off, after 20 minutes or 30 minutes. You've seen that happen with young players sometimes, haven't you?
Yeah,
so that's the worst case scenario.
Yeah, so like I don't see why it's a problem. We're fucked in the league. Like we're not qualified for Europe via that. Give him a chance and just see. Because if he scores, one, the fans get behind it because a young lad coming through the academy.
Yeah.
And he scored. Like, fans love that shit. Like, it's happened to Rashford. It's happened to like multiple players through the years. Fans love that. It gives him confidence. So he's like, I've just scored the first team, and you can sort of play him again, and he gets through on that adrenaline. Maybe he gets a couple more goals. It then maybe motivates Hoyland to go, shit, I'm going to lose my place to a 17-year-old here.
Like Shaw and Tellez, right? When the competition there.
I need to up my game here. I need to work harder and stuff like that. So I think it's just beneficial to do it, but Amarin seems very hesitant to chuck kids in. Like, we saw 3 minutes against Spurs, then we saw how many minutes against who did we face last week? Fucking hell, it's gone out of my head already. Everton. 10 minutes? Something like that. And he didn't really touch the ball. So yeah, it's a weird sort of situation. But I don't expect him to start, but I would like to see it.
Do you know what, though? You make a great point about competition, because I had a similar kind of opinion under Ole, where it was like, you look at our team right now, yeah, and you go through each individual. You go, right, Maguire, if he puts in a stinker, like I think he had a pretty poor performance against Everton, and I think there's been a few before that as well. Who's taking his place in a minute? Because he doesn't seem to fancy De Ligt as a central centre back, right? He plays there every now and then.
He had a bad game as well, by the way.
Yeah, like, he weren't amazing defensively. So they're looking over the shoulder and they're like, well, no one's going to take my place. So even if I don't perform necessarily, no one's going to take... In the midfield, if Ugarte puts in a stinker, do you think Amarin's going to take him out and put someone... No, he's not, because there's no one else to go in there. Dallow's another one, right wing back. Oh, what, we're going to put Majari there, who's equally as bad in that position. So you actually go through the full... Hoyland's another one. We don't even have a striker to replace Hoyland with at the minute. We can't say, oh, Hoyland, you're playing shit, mate. So what we're going to do is... oh, shit, what are we going to do? We're going to put Cheeto in there. And he's like, well, go for it, mate. You know? So there is no competition.
The same with Onana. All our goalkeepers are injured. So if he fucks up like the way he palmed it straight to the 6-yard box,
I'll play next game.
Can't drop him because we've got nobody. Like, what you want to do? Throw Eli Harrison in?
Yeah.
Like, it's just not going to happen, is it? Like, it's not happening.
No. One thing I did like from that Everton game, though, was I noticed there was a connection with Bruno and Dorgu. And there was something, I don't know if you noticed, there's something to keep an eye on there, isn't there? I think.
I thought of all the players against Everton, Dorgu probably had the best performance. Really threatening when he was getting down the sides, put crosses into the box with his natural foot, which God knows when the last time we saw that from a United fullback. So yeah, I really liked it. And again, the same issue happened though. He was making overlaps and Bruno was finding him. But when Bruno dropped back and Garnacho came on, Garnacho was just continuously ignoring him.
Yeah.
And that's an issue.
I feel like Dorgu went more inverted and Garnacho went more out wide when Garnacho came on.
But it's just Garnacho just ignoring overlaps and underlap. Like, he just doesn't use him at all, which is really frustrating. But I think we've got that threat going down that left-hand side. If we can get a right wing back in the summer, and we've got a double threat going on that side, and we can stretch the pitch out, stretch the defenders away. They then provide sort of gaps for the likes of Garnacho or a Hoyland or whatever striker we hopefully buy in the summer to get into, so those fullbacks then get the balls in and then we can start scoring goals. Hopefully that's what happens, but at the minute it's just kind of on. I think, was it Laurie who said on Talking of Devils, it's worrying how often the players looked for Dorgu, who's only in his third game at United, because he knew he was the only
second
outlet
most
on the
touches,
team.
wasn't it? 89 touches, I think he had in the Everton game.
So that's the state of things at the minute. Like, people go, oh, all the players are going, Dorgu's the outlet. so they just keep giving the ball to him. And like it should be balanced. There should be multiple outlets for you to play through, and we haven't got them.
Well, Amarin said in his presser that there's still no players returning. Do you think we're a few injuries away from a crisis? Genuinely, because
I mean,
I know we are in a crisis right now, but I'm saying people say it can't get worse. You know, if Bruno picks up a knock, Garte picks up a knock, what the fuck do you do?
Play the kids, don't you?
Actually forced to play it, or it's either that, or you go to the opposite end of the scale and you play the old man, the old retirement home basically, and Eriksen and Casemiro.
I mean, if you want to get absolutely mobbed and just concede 3-4 goals, four goals a game, then yeah, go for it. But I mean, do you remember when Ten Hag stuck Casemiro in centre back?
And Johnny Evans.
Johnny Evans, that was just.
Oh my god.
It was just again. It was like an old people's home on an outing, wasn't it? It was just just waiting at the zebra crossing, like, come on, just fucking move.
It was bad.
And then we played Lindelof or Amrabat at fullback and left back. It was just fucking hell.
Yeah.
If we have to go back to that, Jesus Christ, you thought this season was bad.
It'll get worse.
It's gonna get so much worse.
Hands down. Danny with the comment saying no end of. I don't know what that's in.
I think that's the title. Because I tongue in cheek put United in a relegation battle.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Punch Paint saying we have more than enough to beat Ipswich and will carry momentum into Fulham. In games like this against struggling teams, we are our own worst enemy. Onana has to have a good game for us not to have a nightmare of falling behind. I would give Rasmus a start for confidence. We've got James in the chat saying evening as well. Good evening to you, Mr. McGrogan. Right, let's chat about Ipswich a little bit. Do you think it'd be a shame if Ipswich went back down into the Championship? It looks like it's going to happen now. And then we're starting to see as well the gulfing class between the Championship and the Prem. There's a big gap, isn't there? Yeah,
because Leicester at the beginning of last season in the Championship, they were 18 points, I think, clear. Yeah. And then Maresca had a fall off and they ended up like in third, like with Leeds at the top of the Championship. And then they've come up and absolutely stunk out the joint. I know Maresca left to go to Chelsea, but like it's the same team, isn't it? So they've not done well. Southampton have been. Are they on the worst points total in Derby yet? Are they slightly above it? Because that's the worst record, isn't it?
Southampton currently right now are on 9 points. They're on. So they've had 2 wins, 3 draws, 21 losses, and obviously 12 games left.
Is Derby 16?
Something around that, yeah. I think someone will know in the chat, but I'm pretty sure it's around that area.
They're on course to be the worst Premier League team of all time. Like, that's what they're on course for. Yeah. So that's concerning. And then, you've got the sort of likes Ipswich, who play really good football, and they've invested heavily in the team, haven't they? Like, they've bought players, they've brought players in. You got Delap, Hutchinson, they brought in Calvin Phillips. They brought in the guy from Villa, Philoggy. Yeah. So they've invested in the team, to be fair, to try and stay up. He plays really attractive football, Kieran McKenna, but I just think when you come up from the Championship and you try to play that style of football, your quality of player has to be really good. We saw that from Southampton. They failed it. Burnley tried it under Company and they ended up changing it towards the end of the season to try and stay up, and it didn't happen. So I think you have to have a better quality player to do that. I think you have to come up, be pragmatic, take your chances, stay up, and then once you get the Premier League money and stuff, you start to invest in the teams, start to build it and move forward. But yeah, it's worrying in a way at the same time, but you're probably going to think now that Liam Delap's probably going to get sold in the summer now, isn't he? Because he's their cash item. He's the one who's going to like give them some money on the way down. So yeah, you can probably see that. And it's probably worked out well for him, showcased him, put him in the shop window, and somebody's going to snap him up.
Well, you just give me the perfect segue because I was going to speak about him next. He is the trending subject in his preview. 10 goals in his first season in the Premier League. Someone United have identified, according to decent sources, in the Athletic. And apparently you're getting for a good price if he is to be relegated. And I think City have a buyback clause for 40 million or something. But I can't really see them, one, activating that. And with Haaland there, and now they just bought Marmoush, I don't know the situation. I can't see him doing it. So it'd be an interesting one.
Is he going to want to go back to City? Because the whole point he left is because he knew he's not going to get in that team. Because at the time, Alvarez was still there. He had Haaland. So he's not going to get in that team. Now, like you said, they've got Marmoush in. he's not going to go back there because he's not going to get in the team, is he? He wants to play football. Like, that's why he left.
Well, something I found out was I'm pretty sure Jason Wilcox worked with Delap at City when he was there, so he knows him really, really well. Are you a fan of him? Would you take Delap at United?
I like him. I think he's a really good player. He's got a fucking bullet on him on the shot, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He can actually put his foot through it. Good finisher. But I think we've got the same issue. We bring him in. We've got Højlund and him and Xerxes all under 23. None of them are an experienced elite level striker that we clearly need in this team. So it's just kind of the same issue again, isn't it? Like this thing. If we had an elite striker in the team and we're like, all right, we need somebody young to come in, be the understudy, come on for casual games, then
if we had Kane, then Delap would be almost like, like for like.
Yeah, fantastic, like that thing. But I just don't think the way our team, unless we get rid of a Højlund and he's the replacement and we bring in a senior striker, I don't see where he fits in this team. Like, we're just sort of collecting young players and none of them are really hitting any heights at this point, are they?
No. I think Delap's a fascinating one, to be fair, because I do think there is a player in there. He's got a bit of bite about him. He's strong. Like you said, ruthless finisher. Yeah, I'm interested to see how that one goes, because obviously United are looking to box clever in the summer. I mean, we had news today that Christopher Vavell has taken over recruitment, basically. He's like in the head position there now, and obviously he's done work with Leipzig, so Sesko could still be on the cards. We've identified him for a long, long time. You look at the work that he's done in general at Leipzig and Salzburg, the players that he's brought through.
Is it Chelsea as well, wasn't he? With the sort of...
With Potter, when Potter was there.
Yeah, when they bought all those young players like Madueke and all that sort of stuff. So he's clearly got an eye for talent, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, put that one on ice for the minute, and we'll see what happens in the summer, I suppose, if Ipswich do go down. Just the last question on Ipswich: should McKenna get a bigger job? Do you think? Does he deserve it? Has he warranted it?
Chelsea were interested in him, weren't they? They sort of made
very close by the sound of it.
Eyes of him, and then he signed a new deal with Ipswich, didn't he? Was it a 4 year or 5 years?
Quite a lucrative deal, from what I understand.
Yeah. So I think he clearly wants to stay there, unless they're like, it's a sort of like the Cunha thing where they sort of like protect their asset, and they're like, let's put him in a new contract. Somebody does want to come in for them, they're going to have to pay us a shit ton of money. It's that kind of thing. But he could have gone in the summer, like if he wanted to, couldn't he? And he chose to stay. Maybe it was just Chelsea. Maybe he was like, I don't want to go to Chelsea. Maybe that was it. But I'm sure there'd be offers in the summer. It just depends on him. Like, does he think he can get him back up? Does he think there's still a project there? And then I suppose it depends on the offer that comes in. I've got a feeling that Chelsea may sack Maresca if the form continues to go on with him. And you know what they're like, they'll pull the trigger at any opportunity. So that opportunity might come around again. So yeah, it depends on him, really.
I'd like to see McKenna at another job, because I rate him as a coach. I think he's a really good coach. But like you said, you need the opportunities. I think he's shown enough at Ipswich, but I don't know. There's a weird blend with it, because it's like, well, if you do come up to the Premier League, do you just have to play this Sean Dyche kind of football to settle into the league and maintain a position, and then do you start building? Do you get a guy that's the in-between, basically, and then do you know what I mean?
I think Eddie Howe is the in-between guy for Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? Like, was it Steve Bruce before him? Did he replace Steve Bruce?
Yeah.
So Steve Bruce is the guy who was saving him for relegation, wasn't it? And like keeping him up or keeping him afloat. And then the next guy is the guy that stabilizes him as a solid top half team or getting him into European positions. The next guy in is the guy who wins them trophies and titles. That's the next guy in. So he's the middle guy, isn't he, Eddie Howe? If you talk for a minute, my girlfriend is waiting outside the door and she hasn't got a key.
Go for it.
You keep talking.
Listen, I'm professional, no problem. Random guy in the chat. Where on earth have you been, Random? I've not seen your name in the chat for a while. I hope you're good, brother. Saying, hope everyone is in good health. Nice to see you in there, man. Danny, right, let's have a conversation, Danny, because I'm just seeing. So, would we go for Wood? No. One good season doesn't make a player. Delap looks like a mid-club player. I just said we are a mid-club, but seriously, we need better to improve. A couple of things I want to pick at you on that, Danny, if that's okay with yourself. So the first thing is, Chris Wood is not a one-season wonder. 18 goals this season, I think it is. 14 goals the season before. Bit of a dip. but he's been pretty consistent with his numbers. Also, he's 33 years old. Delap's 21, 22. He's at the complete opposite ends of the careers, you know. We're looking at potential with Delap. Yes, one season would be a bit of a thinger, but if they get relegated and it's gonna cost £20 million, what's the risk there? You know, it's small fees. Not like you're paying 70, 80 million quid like an Anthony and it doesn't work out. I don't think there's a lot of risk involved with it if it goes down. Now, obviously, if they stay up and they start asking for 40s and 50s, I think there's a different conversation there. Just for me personally, but I don't know what you think, Sam.
Yeah, just the rigors of live broadcasting and social lives. Yeah. We talked about Delap. Is that what we were still talking about?
So Danny made a point. He was like, would we go for Wood, saying potentially, you know, it could be a one-season wonder in Delap. And I was explaining that basically, you know, they're at opposite ends of the career. They're both completely different ages. Chris Wood has done it consistently in the Premier League for a bit as well. He's not a one-season wonder. But would it be a risk with Delap, in your opinion?
No, because I think he's younger. He's got a bit of time ahead of him. He was obviously highly rated because he's in the City Academy and City attempted to keep him. Mm-hmm. So he's clearly got a thing. Jason Wilcox obviously worked with him. So I think if you got Chris Wood in, like you said, he's at the tail end of his career. Yeah, it's like, maybe you get a season out of him, but after that, what's the plan? Mm-hmm. With Delap, you can mold him. You can sort of take your time with him and build him up, and he might become your strike. What is he? 21, 22? Yeah. He could be your striker for the next 10 years. Like that's whereas Chris Wood is you're probably going to get a season or two out of him, aren't you? At best.
Let me give you a prime example, right? We're saying we're not a mid club and these kind of things. The reality of the situation is we are 15th in the Premier League, right? I would take Danny Welbeck right now in a fucking heartbeat in this team. Yes. And he is 32, 33. Right? There's no longevity in it, but for at least the next few years, the inexperienced strikers could learn a thing or two off him, because he's had that path where he's gone to United, it hasn't worked out, he's gone elsewhere, and now he's a really good player for Brighton, a really important player for the young players there as well. So, you know, I think I get there's a lot of clubs at the moment that are going down the kind of younger player path. I understand that. It doesn't mean you can't buy older players if the fit is right. And that's important.
And the fact that we may or may not be in Europe next year, which is a definite possibility. Beggars can't be choosers at this point. Like, you can't just go out.
Season without Europe. Moyes was Champions League, wasn't he? Van Gaal was Champions League, but then did we drop out under him in the second year?
Did we qualify? Because Van Gaal came in after Moyes left. Did we manage to get up, or did we finish?
No, I think under Moyes we finished 7th, didn't we?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we were out that year, the following year, weren't we? It's
going to be weird without no European football. Yeah, if we don't.
But that's what I mean. Like, you can't. Most top players are so elite players are going to play for Champions League clubs. So that's us out unless we win the Europa League.
Yeah.
The next batch of players, they want European football, so Europa League. And if we don't win, the Europa League, we're out of Europe. Like, we're not finishing there. So that's the next batch of players gone. So then you're looking at the next tier down.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's not that much high quality in there. So beggars can't be choosers. You just got to take what you can get at that point and just take on temporary, like you said, a Danny Welbeck, take him on for a season or two, and while you build back up. Yeah. That's what teams have had to do in the past when they've gone, look at Liverpool. If you look at the state of players when Klopp came into the team, how fucking poor they were. Yeah. And then he slowly picked it apart, got his players in, and eventually over the years he rocketed up table. And then you look at his team and he's got Mane, Salah, Firmino, Fabinho, Alisson, Van Dijk, Robertson, Trent, like all these players, and he's just fucking smashing it out of the park. And if it weren't for City, they probably would have won about 4 titles by this point.
Yeah, they couldn't have gone straight and got Alisson and Van Dijk straight off the bat. No. It's all about time and it's all about recruiting players and the path that we're on. And that's what they're going to have to do really well now for the next couple of years, like building us back up. And when you get back to that point, you can start buying your big players. Back to the preview anyway. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. Ones to watch in this game for you, Sam. Both teams, one from each team.
Delap we've touched on quite a bit, so he's definitely a danger player. I agree. And then Omari Hutchinson as well. He's a problem. He's a real problem. Plays just behind the striker, can score the goals, got a shot on him. Very combative, very sort of aggressive as well. I think, he's an issue for us. And I think if he's playing in front of our defence who have a performance like they did against Everton, he's going to cause a lot of problems, slip the lap in or even get a shot off himself. So, he's I think he's an issue for us if he's potentially playing. For United, Dorgu, he's our outlet. He's the guy who looks like he's creating something. With Ahmad gone, that seems to be the only guy who seems to put any sort of threat going into the box.
Already relying on the new signing.
Yeah, exactly. How long till we drag him down and everybody's calling him shit? I can't wait for that.
Not long.
Yeah, he's the outlet at the minute. So you've got to look towards him. Every week we keep hoping players will step up. Like Bruno had a terrible first half against Everton. He was poor. Højlund and Xerxes can't seem to get it together, like provide any sort of scoring outlet. And then Garnacho is the most wasteful player I've ever seen in my life. Jesus Christ, the amount of chances that kid has and he doesn't take them. Really frustrating. So, yeah, there's a lot of problems on the pitch. So, Dorgu's the one for me.
Type of kid to get one use out of a bottle of tomato sauce and throw it away.
Yeah.
Too wasteful.
Yeah.
Too wasteful.
Yeah.
Right, 5 quick fire questions. People in the chat get involved as well. Will this be a similar scoreline to the reverse fixture?
Yeah, I think it's going to be low scoring.
Okay. One player who will definitely get a yellow card in this game.
Bruno for whinging.
Where did we finish this season, in your opinion?
Where are we now? 15th? 14th.
If we fast forward a year in time now, where will Rasmus be, do you think?
I think he'll still be here, but I think we'll have a senior striker at the club.
Okay. And do you think he'll be seen in a different light at that point?
Hopefully.
The pressure's been taken off?
Because I know there's talk of Osman at the minute.
Yeah.
A guy who works in Turkey, apparently is a tier 1 source. I don't know much about him, if I'm honest, so I don't know whether we can trust it. But say he came in and then Højlund isn't starting as many games and he's coming on for 20 minutes at the end, or he's playing in a cup game and stuff like that, I think people would be more patient with him. I think people like, he's developing, he's 21. Osman's here, taking the load up, he's learning from him. Maybe his finishing gets better. Maybe he could play a different role rather than what he's trying to do now, backing into defenders and stuff. So I'd hope so.
Prediction for man of the match?
Dorgu for United. Yeah. Can't pick anybody else.
I agree. Get it in the chat, people.
I feel terrible just putting all this pressure on Dorgu, you know. I really do.
Yeah.
Just going, he's our only hope and he's going to be man of the match because he's the only fucking player who's actually doing anything.
It's always the case as well with the new shiny thing. It's like, because this team's been so stale for so long, we just let players go as well recently. He's the one you look at and you think, oh. But inevitably, he'll probably have a dip at some point. People will win saying he's not the right signing, and you'll see that script. All right, let's get into the starting 11s then. So first, we've gone with a predicted one because you're not going to expect much rotation in here. Yeah, very limited options. So Onana in goal, Maguire, Maguire, and De Ligt. But Maz might have an injury, so we'll touch on that in a moment. Dalot, Ugarte, Bruno, and Dorgu as the 4, and then Xerxes, Højlund, and Garnacho. Now, we've also done a preferred 11. So this is something me and Sam would be interested to do. We'll start from the top. Chido, throw him in there. Why not, Sam?
Yeah, like what's the worst he can do? I think we said off camera, what's the worst he can do? Not score a goal, which is basically what all our other forwards are doing.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's mostly positives because if he doesn't score a goal, then we're no worse off. If he does, the confidence that he's going to get and the sort of lift that he's going to get is going to push him further into the next couple of games because I assume he's going to be on a bench for a couple of games yet. And then the fans will get behind it because seeing an academy kid coming on and scoring at Old Trafford, that's one of the best moments you can see as a fan. So the fans get behind it. And then it then provides Højlund with a bit of sort of to go, you've got competition now, lad. Like, this kid has come on for 17. He's only been here a couple of months and he's now starting ahead here. So he provides Højlund to push himself as well. So I don't see what the negative is, really.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to see that. The 4 is going to stay as the 4 because there's no one else. In reality, I think Sam mentioned before that Coleman is playing in the under-21s. So, and then the back line, Euro, De Ligt, potentially as a central centre-back because Maguire had a bit of a stinker. And Haven, we want to see Haven get a run out, but I'm not sure, I have to be honest, I'm not sure how much faith I've got in that. Like, others I've seen more of. I haven't seen much of Haven, I have to be honest with you.
Well, he played a senior game for Arsenal, I believe. So he has played senior team football, and he's a left-sided centre back, so he's in Leach's position. So, and we were told when he came in, he's a first team signing. He's not an academy signing, so he has to get minutes at some point, I imagine. And with Leacher out, and then you're playing the level of opposition that is Ipswich. No offense to Ipswich, and I know we're shit and we can't beat teams, but obviously you don't chuck him in against a Liverpool and Arsenal or something like that because he'll have a fucking nightmare. But against Ipswich, it's like this is a good level to test him and see where he's at. So I would like to see it. I don't think it'll happen, but I'd like to see it. When we were talking off camera, we had a bit of a debate as well. I wanted to put Kone in the midfield because I do want to see him. And Nick was like, Igate more over Kone. And obviously because he's starting in the under 21s now, that kind of sort of was taken away from me anyway. So yeah, these are the kind of options I want to see because what have we got to lose? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we have anything to lose. We're not going to perform well like we already have been doing. We're not going to climb up the table. We're not going to finish in European spots. Save your best players for the cup competitions where we actually need to like win and play your strongest team. Use the league as an experimentation, flood the youth and see what you can do.
Also, if you're going to throw anyone in there at home in a back five, you're a lot more protected. Whereas if you was going there with a high line, back four at Anfield, you got a lot more shit to worry about. So if you're going to chuck a defender in there, it's probably the best time. Either that or a cup game at home, I would probably say. Random saying, question, who would we sell, if any, of our loanees in the summer? Malacia, Anthony, and completely forgot Malacia went out on loan. Yeah. I always reference Anthony and Rashford, and I forget he's gone. Yeah. Malacia, because he didn't play for us at all today. If we could sell in it, I mean, you're getting pennies from Malacia. Anthony seems like he's developing something at Betis, and the fans seem to really, really like him there. So maybe you could sell him for a cut price, but again, you're not going to get much. I mean, Real Betis haven't got fucking shitloads of money, so
no.
Again, it's the Rashford's the one in it. That's the one where you sell him because it's pure profit as well. Academy player, that's where the money's at, innit?
I mean, I'd sell all of them, to be honest with you, because I don't.
I'd sell them all. I'd sell them all, but I'm saying the most money, the most profitable.
Yeah. Well, you're
Rashford
getting.
By far, innit?
What are we getting? 25 for Sancho? Is that what we're getting?
Yeah.
Yeah, from Chelsea. So I bet they're regretting that fucking deal now, aren't they? So yeah, that's the thing. And then you're looking at the summer, it's like, are we going to have to sell a Garnacho or a Menu to sort of like help with his PSR things as well? Like, that's a big question as well. So yeah, it's interesting, but I'd sell all three of them.
Danny's saying, I'd like to see Morehouse before Cheeto has more about his game to drive, play, and carry the ball. I think Cheeto needs services. Morehouse scores and creates by carrying. Said how good the lap is, then you want to debut a kid against a bully forward. What? Debut a kid against a bully forward. Dangerous for development and confidence. No, listen, when Cheeto came on against Everton, it was night and day in comparison to what Hoyland was doing. Hoyland didn't do anything all game. At least Cheeto made him worry a little bit. It was going into areas where the defenders had to think twice. And let's not pretend that the centre-back duo at Ipswich are amazing because they've conceded 54 fucking goals. So
the goalie's not great either. He's not a good goalie either.
So he's probably one of the worst goalkeepers in the league.
He means heaven up against the lap. That's what he's referring to.
Oh, right. Okay, I'm with you. Well, this is preferred, basically saying that we would give it a chance potentially. We put the starting 11 in. This is preferred, saying, well, if you're gonna tweak it, what options would you throw in there, right? And they're the only options that you can throw in there.
Like you said, with a back five, he's a bit more protected. He's got Dorgu, Dallo, Delict, who's a very experienced defender despite his age. Yoro, who, despite his age, is very experienced. Like, he played full season at Lille in the Champions League. Was it Champions League or Europa League?
Yeah, Champions League.
And so he's got experienced people around him. He's got Igate in front as well, who's a very experienced player. So, like, I think a back four, yeah, you're right, that I wouldn't do that. But a back five, I think, is a little lower of a risk as well.
Yeah. He's probably not going to do that. It probably will be Hoyland up top, and it will be, we'll see that set up. But I don't know. At some point, I would like to see him just test the waters, even if it's 10, 15 minutes, I do want to see it, but I don't know. Anyway, let's get into the score predictions.
I've just seen as well, United's tickets for fixtures against Ipswich, Fulham, and Real Sociedad are gone on general sale. amid the team's dismal form and anger over rising prices. Visiting teams are not taking their full allowance, and lower uptake of contractual allocations are thought to be the main reasons. So people don't even want to come watch us anymore, even the away fans.
The price that they're charging, you're charging premium prices for shit on a pitch.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, yeah. Right, let's do a score prediction. Same goes for everyone in the chat as well. What score is this game going to be? Are you worried about it? Speak to me, people. Chivy's saying Lindelof in the chat there, but again, Lindelof, he obviously doesn't rate him at all. I've not seen Lindelof for fucking months. I don't see him in the team at all.
That's going to be the slowest backline in the world, isn't it? Fucking De Ligt and Lindelof. Jesus Christ. Like, fucking Lindelof, look, when he was on the bench against Spurs, what he looked like a supply teacher on a fucking school outing, didn't he? Just surrounded by teenagers. He was just looking at it going,
excuse me, sir, like, Mr. Lindelof. Can I have my lunch, please?
I don't want to see Lindelof. Like, I love the guy, but no thanks.
Score prediction, please, Sam.
1-1 is the best I could do.
I think I've done the exact same. I don't want to double check what I I think I've gone 1-1 as well. It's 1-1. 1-1's a fair result, and I think. But again, like someone mentioned before, Ipswich had a bit of a flurry against Spurs, and it looked like they had them on the ropes for a bit. And I can see the exact same thing happening at United. It's Spurs, but they beat us 3 times a season. It's United. More to the point.
Spurs defensively are fucking just bizarre, aren't they? Like it's chaos when you play Spurs. So I don't think beating us is a reflection, because attacking wise we don't have any threat whatsoever. So I think it was a lot easier against them, whereas Ipswich have got attacking threat in Delap and Hutchinson. So I think it's a little bit different.
I could see a Bruno penalty in this. But Ipswich going 1-0 up, and then I think us getting a penalty and taking a point again and getting ever closer to that 40-point mark.
40 points.
Yeah, in the league. As soon as we get there, my anxiety will just drop straight down. I'll be like, okay.
And you'll just stop caring about the league. You just be like,
league can just, if we get up a couple of places, then fantastic. It is what it is. But I think the main focus will be Europa League and FA Cup, for sure. But yeah, I think again, once we get a big team in there, I think it's curtains for us as well. So yeah. Hope, pray, whatever kind of adjectives, is that the right word to use? I don't know. Whatever kind of words you want to use. Kevin Mick, I can't say that name. Kevin McEverley, I think it is, going 1-1. McEverley. UK Darren fan saying United 3-0. 1-1 and 3-0 seem to be the two that a lot of people are.
3-0. Have you seen us this season? Like, when the fuck have we scored like multiple goals? Like,
last time we scored 3 goals. Let's have a look. Man United's result.
It must be in Europa League. Was it Bodo Glimt? Because that was 3-2, wasn't it?
That was 3-2, but I'm seeing any more recent ones. 3 goals. Let's have a look. Brighton scored 3 against us. That was nice.
Don't want to remind
Southampton. Ahmad hat-trick. Mid-Jan.
Oh, shit. Yeah, but it was in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was in the last 3 minutes. We scored 3 against Spurs in the Cup, but we lost that game 4-3.
That was Bayinde and Forrester trying to outdo each other for the worst goalkeeper.
And then it was Bodo, which was back in November. So it doesn't happen on a frequent basis. But listen,
we always concede. So if we're scoring 3, we're conceding at least 2.
I'll take the confidence. I'll take the confidence for now. We are going to be live for that game tomorrow. Is it 8 o'clock kickoff? I think
I'd assume so. I think
it's 8 o'clock kickoff, something like that. So we'll be live pre-match and post-match with the analysis as always. Make sure you guys come and join us. We'll have all the latest news updates tomorrow as well. The 12 o'clock news show. If there's any other stuff that you want to kind of check out that's ongoing with United in a minute, obviously we had loads of stuff come out about Christopher Vavell being the new recruitment specialist for us, in charge of the whole kind of operation and scouting. All that news is over on the Instagram. If you want to drop us a follow on TikTok as well and Twitter for more kind of little news tidbits, then we'd really, really appreciate it. But yeah, that figure at the top there is 13,029 subscribers. So if you want to hit the subscribe button, then please do.
Please do go check out our Premier League predictions. The games kick off in like 2 hours. So if you want to get our thoughts on what we think of the Premier League games, please do go check that out. It's on the channel right now. And give us your predictions before all the games kick off this week, because we are really shit at predicting them sometimes, because this league is so unpredictable.
It's so hard. It really, really is. Hopefully we do a little bit better this week, but I'll leave the link in the chat for you people if you do want to check that out. Let us know your thoughts, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah, take it easy.